Okay, so it's that time of the year again. Samsung has just started shipping out the Galaxy S23 series in India, and I have the smallest member of the family, the regular Galaxy S23. Now, nothing much in the box. You get the USB Type-C cable, a SIM ejector tool, and of course the Galaxy S23 in this gorgeous green color. Now, I have to admit, this green color looks better in person than in images. And in fact, when I was about to order the Galaxy S23, I almost ordered the Phantom black color, but I took the plunge and I don't regret it at all. Now, no, for most people, it doesn't even matter because the first thing they'll do is they'll slap on a case, which is fine, but I do appreciate how premium the Galaxy S23 feels in the hand. But if you are thinking about buying a case for your Galaxy S23, I actually have a couple of them from Casetify. They were kind enough to send these in. I especially like this black space one. It fits in well and it offers a good enough lip to protect it from all kinds of drops. And I also got to try out their tempered glass, which actually works really well with the fingerprint scanner. It does make it a little slow, but it still works, and it has been a big challenge with phones like Galaxy S23 that come with an ultrasonic fingerprint. But anyways, if you are interested to check them out, I will leave the links in the description box below. You can buy it from there. And before you ask, no, this video is not sponsored by Casetify. Alright, let's come back to the design. Now this year we no longer have that camera housing at the back, but the phone otherwise feels identical to last year's S22. It also weighs exactly as S22 at 167 grams, and it also has, of course, the IP68 water resistance. Now while a lot of people are actually hating Samsung to ditch that camera bump at the back, I actually don't mind this new minimal look as well. I mean, again, it's simple, it's straightforward, and if you ask me, it kind of looks elegant too. But one thing which is not very elegant now is the vibration motor, at least on the Galaxy S23 regular variant, because Samsung has now switched to the coin style vibration motor for this model, while the S23 Plus and the Ultra variant still gets the vibration motor from last year. Now, it is more intense definitely, and I prefer this over last year's, but I have to admit, sometimes it does feel a little less satisfying. But one thing which is extremely satisfying though is still the display on the S23. Again, there are no major upgrades apart from that the peak brightness now sits at 1750 nits instead of 1300 nits on the S22. But still, I think I have to admit this is by far the best Full HD AMOLED display on any Android device right now. In fact, I was just using the Asus Zenfone 9 before this, and the display there is not bad at all. But when you keep that against the Galaxy S23, you really start to appreciate the colors, the contrast, and even the viewing angles. Now, I would have liked if Samsung also included the LTPO tech on this display, even though if it was just the first generation, because I feel it really helps with the overall efficiency. But as it stands, this display can go from 48Hz to 120Hz refresh rate. Now, if you're talking efficiency, battery life was also one of the most awaited upgrades on the Galaxy S23. Inside, we get a 3900 mAh battery pack, which again, I would not call it an ideal size even for a phone this small, but that combined with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, I would say it looks impressive. It looks impressive so far. Again, I will hold my final thought for now because I've barely used this phone for just over a day, but so far, so good. But what is still not good here is the charging speed, because this phone only supports 25-watt fast charging, but I can live with that because it comes with 15-watt wireless charging as well, and Samsung actually gave a free wireless charger as part of the pre-order offer. Alright, let's also quickly talk about the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 because I feel the chipset is actually the star of the show this year. Now, it's interesting how far we have come, right? Back in 2020 when Samsung had a really bad run with Exynos 990 on S20, but now I think things are a lot more stable, and for the first time in a very long time, Samsung is actually shipping its S series devices only with the Qualcomm's latest chipset. Now, they are claiming that they have customized this chipset especially for Galaxy devices with an overclocked CPU and GPU, but despite that, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 has impressed me so far. It can offer you that raw performance while also offering you great power efficiency. Now, Samsung has also introduced a new vapor chamber for cooling, and I didn't really get a chance to play any games on the Galaxy S23, but I did run the CPU throttling test, and the results were rather underwhelming. Again, don't get me wrong, it is still better than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, but compared to the devices running on 8 Gen 2, I actually expected it to throttle a lot less than it actually did. Now, hopefully this is just initial days, or maybe Samsung can release a software update to fix it. So let's see how it pans out. Now, apart from this, another small but yet significant upgrade this time around is UFS 4.0. Now, apart from the Galaxy S23 base model, which is the 128GB, all the rest of the Galaxy S23 series device come with a USB 4.0 storage, and I think Samsung is actually selling the 256GB, which is what I have here, at the price of 128GB. So there is no reason for you to get that 128GB model right now. But anyway, UFS 4.0 not only means that you will be able to transfer files to your computer faster, it also means that this device will be able to open apps, process images, and overall just run smoothly. Plus, we also get the new One UI 5.1 baked on top of the latest Android 13, and I think in my last 3 years of using all Samsung flagships, this iteration of One UI actually feels the most stable. And of course, we also get all the customizations. We also get Bixby routines. There is Samsung Pay. There is this new maintenance mode as well, which you can activate whenever you want to give your phone for repair to the service center. And on top of it, Samsung is still promising 4 major Android updates, which I think is crazy in 2023. Now, if I talk about the cameras, the setup is kind of identical again. We get a 50 megapixels primary camera, a 12 megapixels ultra wide camera, and a 10 megapixels telephoto camera. And the pictures are also more or less the same as last year, at least when I talk about the broad daylight photography. Now, Samsung's post image processing seems to have gotten a little better with HDR, which is nice, but this is again flagship camera territory overall. On the other hand, the night photography actually seems to have been improved a lot, especially with the primary and the ultra wide camera, and the 3x telephoto sensor is still incredibly useful sometimes. Samsung has also nailed how it automatically identifies a subject and then stabilizes to help you take a decent shot even when shooting in 30x. Now, while Samsung has introduced a lot of bells and whistles in terms of video recording on the Galaxy S23 Ultra, this is how the video looks like on the regular S23. I'm shooting in 4K at 60 FPS from the primary 50 megapixels camera. And this is what the video will look like if I shoot in 4K at 60 FPS from the new 12 megapixels front camera. I think the stabilization is pretty good, and I also like the HDR as well. But let me know in the comment section below what do you think about it. Alright, one last thing that I also feel has been improved a little bit is the speaker quality. Again, not that S22 was bad by any means, but I do feel the speaker output on the S23 does sound more full now. Now, I actually managed to get the Galaxy S23 for as low as rupees 63,000 with all the pre-book offers, and this is the price for the 256GB model. But depending on when you watch this video, you may or may not be able to avail all these offers. But for now, I feel Samsung has fixed most of my complaints from the S22 on the S23, and I'm super excited to rock this guy for the next 2 weeks and come up with my full review soon. So if you don't want to miss that video out, do subscribe to TQNet and drop in your questions in the comment section below as well. But if you're someone who's still looking to buy the S22, I recently uploaded a long-term review of that device that you can check out somewhere here. Follow me on social media as well, and never forget, keep asking, and I will see you in the next one.